Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Math Bell, where I share strategies, tutorials, tips, ideas, and more in elementary math for parents and teachers. Today is day 5 of our 30-day back to school math resource challenge. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you how you can create a student data tracker for your students using Google Slides so that they can track the progress that they're making with their assessments over the school year. And if you're a parent, you can definitely use this resource too. Maybe your child's teacher is not tracking their assessments over the year or not sending it home, but they're sending home those test scores. Maybe you want to track how they're doing on their assessments, whether it's a unit test, a chapter test, a quiz, a quarterly, or some type of district test. So you definitely can modify this data tracker to meet the needs of your child. Let's get started. In today's video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a student assessment data tracker, and we're going to be using Google Slides. So I'm going to open up a new tab, and within Chrome, I'm going to go over here to my menu of Google options, and I'm going to go to Google Slides, and then click on a blank presentation to start a new presentation. I'm going to exit out of the themes that pops up automatically and go to File and then go down to Page Setup so I can adjust the settings. I'm going to click on this drop down menu and then hit Custom and change my dimensions to 8.5 inches by 11 inches and then hit Apply. And then I'm going to go over to Layout and scroll down until I see the blank screen. So we have our basic page, our canvas. Now for our tracker, I'm going to start by adding in a text box. So up here in our ribbon, the T in the box is for text box. So I'm going to make one here. I'm going to start with the title. I'm just going to put Assessment Data Tracker. Let's highlight that so we can change the font and the size of the font. Let's go with impact and then increase the size. Let's bring in our text box and then I'm going to center the text and then move it towards the middle of the page. It's very similar to working in PowerPoint and Canva. So there's our title. I'm going to click on this text box and hit Command D on my keyboard so I can duplicate it, and then I'm going to change this so that I can have a spot for them to write their name. And then I'm going to change the font to a lighter font and then extend this text box so it all fits. And then I'll probably decrease the size of the font or of the name. So let's move that under. Actually, let's move it to the top and we'll move our title down. So with our assessment data tracker, this is really a resource that you will modify and adjust to meet the needs of the assessments your students will be taking for however long you want to track it. So you might track it for 9 weeks, maybe a semester, or maybe the entire year. And there's different things you can put on here. You can put quizzes, weekly assessments, quarterly assessment, chapter tests, whatever you want your students to track. So I'm going to track 2 different things on this example. I'm going to track if a students take like a large district or county assessment and maybe they do it 3 or 4 times in the year. I'm going to add a shape. I'm going to add a square or a rectangle for the students to write in their scores for each of those assessments. Let's move this over here And then I'm going to do Command D to duplicate it. So I want to have 3 spots. And then duplicate it again. And on Google Slides, you can just like hit or touch some of the text boxes and it will highlight the entire thing. In PowerPoint, it's different. You have to highlight all of the text box in order to select it. So that is one of the benefits of using Google Slides. I'm going to move it over slightly because I am going to put a border on the edges, so I want it to have space. And then let's make sure this is in the middle of the outside boxes. So now I'm going to add a text box under each rectangle to write. I'm going to type in AP for assessment period and then the number 1. So AP1. Let's use that impact font again and then increase the size and center it. And I'm going to put that right under that first box and then duplicate it twice for the other 2 rectangles. And then we're going to change this to the number 2 and then the number 3. And of course, if you have more or less, make those adjustments on your data tracker. And then I'm going to duplicate this one more time so we can label this. Let's write district assessments. Okay, so that one is done. So next, what I'm going to do is add in an area or 2 areas for students to write their scores out for each of the assessments that they take in their class or at their school. So let's just say that there are 10 units for the entire year, 10 math units or 10 chapters. So we're going to have 10 places for them to write down their percent and the number that they have correct. So I'm going to go up to Insert and then go to Table and just hover here, and it shows you the different dimensions you can use to create your table. And I want to have 5 spots, so we're going to do half on this chart and then make another half for units 6 through 10. So because I need 5 on this table, I'm going to add a 6th row so I can put labels. So let's do 3 columns of 6. And then let's bring it in. Then push it up here. To darken the outline or the lines on the table, you're going to select that table and then come up here to our toolbar. And we're going to select where it says border weight and make it 3. And then border color, we're going to choose black. Make sure you highlight it first and then do that. So I'm going to go back and make the border color black and the border weight 3. I'm going to bring it down some. And inside, I'm going to highlight all of the cells and make sure they are centered. And I want that top section to be bold. And I want all of them to have this font. So in the first cell, we're going to put the units. Then we're going to put the out of score. And then we're going to put the score as a percent. So if that is too small, I'm going to highlight all of them and then lower the font size one more time so that it fits. And let's duplicate. And then I'm going to put in the unit numbers, 1, 2, 3. So that part is done. Let's come up here and darken these boxes or these rectangles. Make them black and make the border 3. Okay, so we're almost done. So the last thing I want to do is make a table or a chart for students to color in or shade in so that they can see the differences in their assessment scores. So if they're making progress, we want them to have a visual to represent that. So we're going to go back over to Insert, Table. So this time I want, since there are 10 units, and then they can go from 0 to 100. So I'm going to do a table that has 10 by 10 grid, but then I'm going to add in an 11th row and 11th column so that I can add my labels. So let's find 11 by 11 and then select that. And then we're just going to bring it in. Let's see. That's too close. Let's bring it down to fit. Let's thicken the weight of the lines and change the color to black and the outline to 3. Let's highlight everything so we know that we want them all to be centered. And we want that font. Actually, let's make the font impact. Why does it keep doing that? So I'm adding in our numbers on the bottom row to represent the units. And then here are going to be the percentages that students can earn on their assessment. So let's lower the font size for this 100. Okay, so let's zoom out slightly. So we have our grid. Now I want to get rid of the cells around our labels. So what I'm going to do is highlight the row on the bottom. And I'm going to go over to border color and hit this transparent. And then do the same thing for the column on the left. And then highlight the cells that have the missing left side and do border color black, and then the same thing for that bottom row. And there's the grid that the students can shade in. Let's stretch it out a little. Just going to add in one more text box to write that we are looking at unit assessments. That's what we're shading in at the bottom. Make sure it fits. Let's zoom out. So the very last thing we're going to do is add in a border. So I'm going to go to Shape and then click on the rectangle and highlight the entire page. That gives us our shape. And I'm going to right click and then go to Order and then go to Send to Back. And then while the page is still highlighted, I'm going to change the border color to black. And then the weight, I'm going to change it to 4. Actually, let's change it to 8. Then we're just going to bring it in just slightly. That looks good, so we're just gonna bring these over. Actually, I'm gonna lower the font. And for this one, I'm gonna bring it up slightly. And there is our assessment data tracker. Before we print, make sure you save it. So I'm gonna type in student assessment data tracker and press enter. It's saved. I'm going to go to print settings and preview, and then I'm going to click on download as a PDF. And now we have our data tracker as a PDF that we can print. Hope this tutorial helped you with learning how to make a student data tracker. Comment below and let me know what assessments you're going to be tracking with your students or your children this school year. So now day 5 is complete. You now have another resource that you can add to your printable math resource toolkit. And remember, if you want to take your printable and turn it into a digital resource, check out this video here and learn how to do just that. And if you want a copy of the data tracker that I showed you how to create today, check out the link in the description box below where you can get access to today's resource and all of the other resources from our 30-day challenge. If you found this video helpful, please like it by hitting that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to my channel. And if you want to be notified as soon as the next video is posted, hit that notification bell. See you in the next video.